Okay, let's start. Yeah, thanks everyone for taking time out for this. I'm Mitesh Tank, the co-founder and CEO of Data for AI. Before I start, I would like to thank Neo4j for being a good technology support for our vision of work in of the future of work in finance. So really appreciate their support in that space and giving me the opportunity to share my vision with all of you. So. A brief introduction from my side. I'm Mitesh Tank. I have 2 decades of experience in finance. The first half coding for big banks, and the second half being a portfolio manager, running equity long short portfolios for an asset manager and then a hedge fund. So that was my background. But the first time I looked at ChatGPT and I encountered the power of generative AI, I could visualize uh, the the future of work in finance, and that's where Data for AI was born. So Data for AI in its current iteration is an AI financial analyst for investment professionals. Now the problems that portfolio managers face, or the part of my job that I hated while running it was that I was spending too much time on repetitive manual tasks to which were the backbone of the research that I was doing. I was also spending a lot of time on doing portfolio monitoring on a regular basis to make sure that, like, why is the portfolio moving, how is it moving, what's the causal analysis behind that. And because of spending so much time on these type of activities, I never got enough time to do deeper investment research, which is required for long-term strategic growth of the strategy. So that's what we are trying to solve right now using data for AI. It's a research and analysis agent. It automates the mundane. It allows you to do 24/7 monitoring or risk monitoring of your portfolio as it looks at all the relevant news and announcements. And the third part, which is very exciting when I talk to clients right now, is about the different use cases. With the use of AI, we are able to do things which were pretty much impossible without the use of generative AI. An example of this would be that you could come up with a nice alpha signal from the sentiment analysis of a lot of filings that exist, but now you want to do it point in time over the last 20 years and see the stock performance on that. It's possible to do that manually, but it would take a lot of time, and many people just don't do it because of that. So AI allows you to do that. So the first step that what Data for AI is doing is like freeing up your time by automating everything that is repetitive. And second, it's like helping you understand what AI can do to improve your investment process. But the real magic is where the future lies. So all these efficiencies of with Data for AI and the current iteration, as I said, we are able to automate stuff and help you improve. We keep improving it with and the three technologies I think which are key for this are multimodal capabilities, federated learning, and self-learning knowledge graphs. We'll focus only on the self-learning knowledge graph piece as of now. When you look at all the AI tools which are trying to solve problems in finance, I think there are two main issues that they don't address. The first issue is that they are standalone applications and they don't have all the uh, information that investment profession needs on a regular basis. Think of the news, the prices, the charting that is there. So the first thing that we did at Data for AI was bringing all of them in the same application, as you can see on the in the photo attached. Like all the information that you need is within Data for AI. The second piece that people are not thinking about is when I am trying to use something like an AI assistant, I think of it as an analyst. So any feedback that I provide to the analyst, I want it to be remembered and be incorporated as a part of the next time I ask the same question or research. And I think that's where knowledge graphs play a very important role. So the way I think of knowledge graphs in this entire agentic financial analysis piece is replicating the brain of or the investment philosophy of the investment professional. Now, everyone would have a different approach to things. So many of you in the audience would be investing in stocks. Everyone would have a different holding period. So the best way to do that is to have something customizable. And out of all the technology available right now, I think knowledge graphs are the most elegant way of implementing that. So then how do you go about using them? So it's not the case that you can build a knowledge graph at one point of time and use it forever. The best example that I give is that if you're looking at any company, so something like Louis Vuitton, which is a luxury brand, if 10, 15 years ago you were doing that analysis for that company, you would see that it was dependent, the growth of that company was dependent a lot on the growth of, say, Europe and US GDP. But now in today's day and age, it's much more dependent on Chinese and emerging markets growth. So to capture all this, that's where the self-learning part of knowledge graphs is required. So if I had to summarize why knowledge graphs are important for agentic financial analysts, the first is the market keeps moving and we need something which is a living knowledge graph, which learns from all the new information and improves with it. And the second part is that every investment professional has a unique approach to investing, a unique investment philosophy, and that needs to be incorporated in the knowledge graph. So I hope that gives you an understanding of why knowledge graph is important for the future of work in finance. If we move on to the next slide, there's a lot of technology out there where you can feed a lot of data. So this just gives you a glimpse of what data for AI is building from a knowledge graph standpoint. So there's a lot of technology that is available that uses LLMs to where you can dump all the information available for a particular company into an LLM, and it will look at all the entities. It will do entity recognition, relationship recognition, and then create a big knowledge graph as is present on the left-hand side. But if you do that, you will get thousands of nodes and thousands of relationships. Now, if this is something that is that someone is using on a day-to-day basis, that's not readable and usable. And again, there's a lot of noise in the news and stuff that companies mention. So the large knowledge graph on the left-hand side is not something that can be used for practical purposes in finance, in investment research, or investment banking. What people want is a smaller knowledge graph that is there on the right-hand side, where you look at the top 15 to 20 factors or nodes that impact the stock price of that particular company, and and the ability to improve on that knowledge graph based on your own view. So that's where data for AI is like building a 4-step process where we use the power of LLMs to build knowledge graphs for all the companies that are there in the world. But at the same time, the second step would be having subject matter experts look at it and see if there's anything that we are missing. The third step is we would look at backtesting these knowledge graphs with the news flow to see which of these nodes are very important for explains the stock price movement. And fourth is the technology where you can edit the knowledge graphs and then make it on your own. So the litmus test of this entire process would be that if you're using our technology of the knowledge graphs over a period of 6 months, and 6 people who are trading, say, financial companies globally, ask the same question to the tool, it would give you a different answer, which would be reflective of your investment philosophy, because it learns from each and every interaction that you have with the tool. So that's where I think our proprietary technology lies. But I think Neo4j has a great tool that converts unstructured data into knowledge graphs, and that was the starting point of our research, where we thought, okay, this is something very interesting, which is streamlining a lot of processes, and we built our proprietary technology to improve the knowledge graph so that it caters to what our clients or customers are looking for. So to summarize this piece, which is I think the core of the discussion today, is a lot of technology is available that uses LLMs and converts a lot of unstructured data into knowledge graphs. But those knowledge graphs are very bulky, not usable, we will not be able to understand if we are for our use case of financial professionals, because they are not tech people. So we'll have to convert and compress it into something very relevant, and that something that they can edit based on their own understanding. So that's what we are building, a 4-step proprietary tech around that. Another piece of thing that we encountered in this entire journey is from a cost standpoint as well. So if you're every AI system right now has a RAG component to it. Now, there are different flavors of RAG. The most common I have seen is vector RAG and then graph RAG. Now, vector RAG, everyone would know that vector RAG has its own limitations, and it just sometimes doesn't give context. It's just doing summarization, and that's why graph RAG is much more contextual. But the cost of running a graph RAG and the cost of generating this knowledge graphs is huge. So that's the other innovation in the proprietary technology, where we are trying to figure out what is the best way or the most efficient way to generate knowledge graphs for all these equities. So think of the scale of the problem is that at any point of time, there are 48 or 49,000 stocks that are listed globally and are trading. Now, if you wanted to create, if let's say 99% of the liquidity is in the top 20,000 stocks. Now, so you want to create 20,000 knowledge graphs. Now, that is itself a lot of effort. The next thing is that you want it to be a living knowledge graph, a self-learning knowledge graph. That means you want to regenerate those knowledge graphs based on those updates on a regular basis. A 15 day or a month period is, I think, a good time period that we are looking to regenerate these knowledge graphs. So that's the scale of the problem that we are looking, and that's why making it much more efficient, the building of the knowledge graphs and this entire process is what we are spending a lot of energy on. And it's an interesting problem. I haven't found any solution out there. And even the customers that we are talking to, our main target customers are tied mid-size hedge funds, asset managers, endowment funds, and family offices. Think of any financial institution that is managing a lot of money but does not have a big technology team. So that is our ideal customer profile. And we're talking to all those people, and none of them have also found any product out there which is able to replicate this in a good way. So it's an exciting time, an exciting problem to face, and every day we learn something new, and that's what we are focusing on. I thought I'd leave you guys with a proper example of what I have been saying. So the one use case that I thought would be interesting to share is, say you are an investor in ExxonMobil. It's an oil and gas exploration and production company listed in the US. And maybe you saw a news headline that says that, okay, electric vehicles are picking up. You see Tesla's numbers improving in Europe, and you also see Chinese electrical vehicle companies increasing their presence globally. And now you're worried that you own ExxonMobil stock, and how is this going to impact your position? So if you put this into, say, a chat GPT or something, it will give you a very generic answer based on all the reports that are present on the internet or in the material that it was trained on. And that type of generic information is not something that people are interested in if they're using it for professional investment management decisions. So what you see on the screen on the left-hand side is a knowledge graph that is customized for a short-term investor. When we think of a short-term investor, we say that a holding period of less than 2 to 3 months is a short-term investor. And the knowledge graph that you see on the right-hand side is a knowledge graph for a long-term investor. So think of Warren Buffett, or at least having like a 4 to 5 year time horizon as a holding period. Now, based on the interactions and the philosophy or investment philosophy of those individuals, the knowledge graphs are different. So think of in short-term, the short-term investors' knowledge graphs, the importance of the US election, which went right now, would be more important. Speculation, or the impact of geopolitical tensions in the Middle East would have a much bigger role. Whereas in the long-term investors' knowledge graph, you would think that any innovation in technology, the speed at which innovative clean tech technologies are improving, would have a much bigger role. And that is reflected in the answer of the same question. Whereas you can see that the answer for the short-term investor is saying that EV sales is generally a long-term play. And given the current macroeconomic regime, you don't think that that is going to have a big impact on the in the near term future on the ExxonMobil stock. Whereas when the same question is asked to a long-term investor's knowledge graph, it says that, okay, if this is a trend, it will have a much bigger impact, and we need to do that further analysis on these particular adoption of these particular technologies in the market. And then that leads to a good a start of a good investment theme analysis, and that's how it answers the question. So as I said, the litmus test of this technology would be is that if people with different investment philosophies use this over a period of time, the answers it generates should be almost similar to having trained an analyst for 6 months under your tutelage. And so you not only impart feedback on the best practices, but also the analyst, or in this tool, Data for AI's tool, imbibes that investment philosophy. So that's pretty much my time. I was thinking that I will spend the rest of the time as a Q&A. Maybe that's better use of everyone. But if you are curious about Data for AI, you could use the QR code, and our MVP is out. So take a look at it. And if you have any feedback, you know where to find me on LinkedIn. Happy to hear any feedback. But thanks all for your time, and open for any questions if the audience has any.